Oh hey, this video is sponsored by Audible.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and today we are talking dragon riding! Again! And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Taliesin, I know what you think about dragon riding, Dragonflight's brand new feature and way of getting around the place, because you already made a video about it on literally the first day of the alpha. You love dragon riding. You want to marry dragon riding. You want to invite dragon riding around to study one evening, but you're not planning on doing any studying. Oh no, you're gonna light the candles and wear some Obsession for Men and put on the Sexy Time Funky Jams playlist on Spotify because you and dragon riding are gonna get down. And you're not entirely wrong. I have made no secret of how game-changing and important and flat-out super fun dragon riding is in the next expansion, but every opinion I've given on it up until now has been based on one pretty narrow view of it. The very little that we actually knew, because quite simply, we don't know what max level dragon riding looks like, or how long it takes to get there, how leveling up works, and perhaps most importantly, what kind of time gating is involved to stop you in your swooping, flapping, gliding tracks. Or rather, I should say, we didn't know until now, because it would appear that the dragon riding system is now on alpha in its entirety. I have dedicated myself to leveling it up and completing the entire talent tree, and I basically now know everything that there is to know about dragon riding and how it works. Ask me anything. Only joking, you don't have to ask me anything, because I'm gonna tell you everything right now as we look at dragon riding in Dragonflight and ask, did Blizzard manage to absolutely dick it up just like they dicked up Torghast Island expeditions and basically everything else? Oh, and by the way, serious warning here, but do not play any drinking games where you take a shot or whatever anytime I say the word dragon in this video, because you'll die. Okay, go, 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 go. So, at the beginning of the alpha, we were given a version of dragon riding, with 3 vigor and a recharge rate of 1 vigor every 30 seconds while grounded, 1 every 15 seconds while flying fast enough to activate Thrill of the Skies, which is signified by the blue swirly effect around you. The ability to recharge vigor while flying, obviously being very useful indeed, plus abilities to ascend upwards, also good for taking off, and surge forward, costing 1 vigor each, plus luxury swirly whirly fast acceleration move Whirling Surge for 3 vigor, and a little bit later, Bronze Time Lock, which lets you set an instant teleport return point which stays active for 3 minutes, all of which seemed like a pretty basic kit, but which was still plenty of fun, being more dynamic, engaging, exciting, and crucially, faster than normal WoW flying. And yeah, every now and then you'd have to wait around for your vigor to recharge, or run on foot if you were going up big hills, and so the question has always been, does this system get better and more powerful, and what does it look like when it does? Well, let's start by talking about leveling these drakes, shall we? Because it turns out that this first iteration of dragon riding that we've had in the alpha until recently does seem to be the very first iteration, as in, this is what it looks like when you first pick up your drake in the first zone, the Waking Shores, and before you've leveled it at all, which is in itself a pleasant surprise, to be honest. 3 vigor and all of the movement abilities that you will ever have, at least until 10.1. Which means, straight off the bat, these things are very rideable indeed, but also, you can start leveling them from that moment. You'll collect 4 drakes throughout your leveling, and presumably more as the expansion goes on, but you don't have to level them all up individually, because the thing that makes you better at dragon riding is your own dragon riding talent tree. Abilities on this tree are unlocked using dragon riding glyphs, with early abilities costing 3 glyphs each to unlock, and the later abilities costing 4. And these glyphs can be earned by grinding out a time-gated currency over a number of weeks with the various factions, which you will then be able to exchange for haha, no, only joking. These dragon riding glyphs are earned by picking them up. Just picking them up. There are 10 dotted around each zone for 40 in total, and you need exactly 40 to unlock every slot on the tree. And to repeat, you just go and pick them up. They are generally in high points that you have to fly to, as you'd imagine, and each glyph has an achievement attached to it, giving you a hint as to the general area it is to be found in, with glyphs in the first 2 zones, the Waking Shores and Onaran Plains, mostly being in locations that are named on the map, while glyphs in the Azure Span and Thaldraszus are generally a little bit trickier to find. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, alright Taliesin, what's the catch here? Because I've played this game before at some point in the last 10 years, and there is absolutely no way that every single dragon riding glyph you need to max out your talent tree is just there in the world, ready to be picked up whenever you like. Obviously, Blizz are going to find some way to time gate this, like you need to get honored rep with a zone's main faction before the glyphs in that zone unlock, or even cruder than that, it'll be something like the Waking Shores glyphs open in week 1, and then the Anaran Plains glyphs will appear in week 3, and so on until we're like a couple of months in. That's how it's going to be for sure. I blame Steve Danusa. And honestly, internet, I don't blame you for thinking that way. I thought that was likely going to be the case too, but going by what is on the alpha right now, and until we get contradicting information, I have no reason to believe this isn't how it's going to be. No, there is no time gating, no rep gating, no gating of any sort on these dragon riding glyphs at all. Every single one of these 40 upgrade tokens is sitting there in the world, minding its own business on top of a tree or a cliff or a tower, just waiting to be scooped up by you from day 1 of Dragonflight launching. I set out on a mission specifically to collect them all one day last week without a guide, just using the hints on the achievement for each glyph, and it took me just over 3 hours to go from 3 Vigor 0 all the way to fully buffed max level flying Chad. And it was a genuinely fun 3 hours too. Lost Ruins, here we go. It's gonna be up there, right? Gotta be. Yeah, there it is. Really driving home how having a thing that you can just go out and collect from start to finish when you feel like it as its own little project is something that we just don't get enough of in WoW anymore. There's always some kind of, oh great, come back tomorrow or next week when you can collect some more, or wait until next reset when the next stage unlocks. Thanks for playing, please exit through the gift shop. It was so refreshing to make the choice to start and finish my dragon leveling project on my own terms, and that in itself is a major plus for Dragonflight. In practice, most people will probably be picking up these glyphs as they level through the zones, coming back at max level to sweep up the ones that they missed, and that is genuine fun and fulfilling MMORPG gameplay right there. That is design which, dare I say it, respects the player's time. Oh yeah, and don't forget, all your dragon riding progress is account-wide, as in every dragon riding glyph can only be picked up once on your whole account. So if you pick up this Azure Span glyph on your main, it will already be in the currency tab of every one of your alts when you log into them, ready to be spent at the dragon riding upgrade NPCs to bring every character you have up to the same dragon riding level. So if you have maxed out your dragon riding on one character, you have maxed it out on all your characters. Every alt will start their leveling in Dragon Isles with fully pimped out drakes, making questing an absolute doddle. Slight caveat, it looks like you will have to unlock access to your drake on each character separately to actually spend your account-wide glyphs, which is an early part of the Waking Shore questline, like I say, about an hour in. Oh, and slight side note, but that dungeon, which is basically the entire Anaran Plains that you dragon ride around, yeah, all your leveled up dragon stuff applies in that dungeon too. It is so much easier with a full talent tree, and my mouth waters when I think of cool dragon riding boss fights that future raids could use. Imagine 20 players on their drakes swooping around Galacrond, whirling surging through weak spots on his wings to bust holes in them and bring him down to earth. Imagine a phase in a Chromatus fight where you are weaving through the air to avoid his 5 heads breathing various different types of fire at you. Incredible. Basically, every promise that Blizzard made towards the end of Shadowlands and in the initial reveal of Dragonflight regarding changes of philosophy towards account-wide unlocks and alt play and time gating seem to be borne out in this dragon riding system as it stands in the alpha right now. Just to repeat, you can fully upgrade your dragon riding skill on day 1 of the expansion. Most players will max it out on the first day of the expansion, and they will have a lot of fun doing it. My top tip, do yourself a favor, don't look at any guides. There are 10 in each zone, just make a note of the place names in each achievement when you enter a new zone, and when you find yourself in that place while leveling, just take a few minutes to fly around and find it. This is fun, old school video gamey content. Allow yourselves to enjoy it just this once. So all in all, that is very good news about leveling dragon riding. What does it look and feel like when you've done that? So, you've been collecting your dragon riding glyph upgrade tokens from throughout the Dragon Isles, perhaps as you leveled, perhaps a bit more chilled out than that. What does that actually mean in terms of getting around possibly the largest expansion content in WoW history? Well, first of all, let me just remind you, I made a video at the start of Alpha about how brilliant and fun and revolutionary dragon riding felt, based, it turned out, on level 1 dragon skills. And I was right, even with no points in the tree at all, this is still a complete game changer in terms of WoW traversal and moment-to-moment gameplay. But completely leveled up? Internet, I am not exaggerating when I say dragon riding is better than I ever dared imagine. Straight off the bat, the first 3 upgrades you unlock, and you decide which order you unlock them, are an extra point of vigor, reducing grounded vigor recharge time to 25 seconds, down from 30, and reducing blue swirly thrill of the skies regeneration to 10 seconds, all of which go a huge way to improving your flying experience from the get-go. For less glyphs than there are to find in the very first zone, you can really feel the difference in how much easier it is to stay in the air for longer. Then come a series of less exciting but still very situationally useful quality of life upgrades. The ability to go straight through some types of dragon racing obstacles while surging forward, a choice between doing AoE damage to enemies or getting a shield when you land your Drake, and to clarify, it costs 3 glyphs to unlock this node and have access to both choices. Just like a class talent tree, they are not one unlock each. Grounded vigor recharge time reduced to 20 seconds, the ability to dismount enemy players with Whirling Surge, which, I think that means we finally got the airborne PvP combat that Wrath of the Lich King promised on its box, fam! Dance Studio next. Another extra vigor to take you to 5, another choice, this time between having your vigor recharge rate increased when you kill mobs, or when you farm a herb or mineral node, which will obviously be super useful for gatherers. And then the last bunch of big boys at the end, which give you 6 vigor, a grounded recharge rate down to 15 seconds, and a blue swirly thrill of the skies flying recharge rate of just 5 seconds, which is amazing. For general reference, I found that with just 4 or 5 vigor, you never have to touch the ground after you've taken off. And once you've maxed out the whole tree, which remember, you can do on day 1, and I know I keep mentioning that, but it is really important, then it is not an exaggeration to say you have the complete freedom of the skies. And every worry players may have had about the efficiency of dragon riding as a means of transportation, oh, it's just falling slowly, oh, you spend too much time on the ground, oh, it's good for going down, but going up is impossible. Worries that I shared and have voiced, by the way, are totally blown away. Maxed out dragon riding is a complete flying experience. No caveats, no ifs or buts. I have logged into the alpha multiple times this week just to swoop around the bridges and viaducts of Valdrakken like they do in their trailer, because you can, for hours, and it is engaging and fun, with actually worrying about having to land or gain height or whatever the last thing on your mind. And I really want you to bear in mind here, I am rubbish at dragon riding, like genuinely, but at max level I can fly from the lowest point of the map to the highest without any problems at all, and this is honestly remarkable. I knew dragon riding was incredibly fun, but this final form, unlockable on day 1 of the expansion, don't know if you knew that, is so much better than I think anyone, even me, was expecting, and means that there is basically no downside to dragon riding. You're not making any kind of trade-off over standard WoW flying in any way. Dragon riding is superior in every department, except if you like hovering in midair and AFKing, which, you know what? Fair play, even though I bet that probably will be added as a dragon riding ability in a future patch. But as things stand, apart from the hovering, there is absolutely no reason that I can think of that anyone would use standard WoW flying in the Dragon Isles when it's introduced in probably 10.2. And that is also perhaps the biggest problem with dragon riding. Oh yeah, you didn't think we weren't going to have a good old moan, did you? We've got a whole section on complaints. Let's go.
Hey everyone, it's me, Evie, hard at work with Taliesin, building the new weekly reset set. I'm sure Tally will be back any minute now. And do you know what gets me really hyped for plastering and painting walls and applying brick slips and rigging lights? Dragons! We're working with Audible, who are sponsoring today's video, and once again, I'm gonna tell you all about how much dragon stuff Audible have, because seriously, it's like never ending. One thing I love about Audible is how it makes it so easy to get more stories and information information in your life. You can listen while working from home, taking a walk, maxing out dragon riding, cooking, or customizing your dragon mount for hours on end. Audible can also help you reach your goals, whether that's getting more books in your life or listening to something new while doing other things. Want to finally dip into the classics about dragons? Why not start with Christopher Paolini's Aragon, all 9 hours and 6 minutes of it, or take it back to the original Dragonflight, Anne McCaffrey's first Dragon Riders of Pern book, which made her the first woman to win a Hugo and a Nebula Award for her writing. Badass. Audible also comes with tons of member benefits you might not know about, including a free credit for their premium collection every month and unlimited access to the Plus catalog, where you'll be able to dip into loads of original content exclusive to Audible, including Audible originals like Dragon Planet, heck yeah, and How to Date Your Dragon, yeah, alright. Itching to listen to some dragon tales while you're flying over the Dragon Isles? New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Just visit audible.com/TaliesinEvitel or text TaliesinEvitel to 500-500. Why not learn something new about dragons? Check it all out at audible.com/TaliesinEvitel or text TaliesinEvitel to 500-500.
There's a couple of small, obvious problems with dragon riding that we hope are ironed out before the launch. For one, there is going to have to be an option to remove the majority of blue swirly wind effects from Thrill of the Skies. It's an important visual cue in the flying process, but the fact is, loads of players aren't going to be able to cope with it from just an accessibility point of view with motion sickness. I love it, I'll be keeping it. There is going to need to be an option to tone it down. The main problem, though, is not even a real problem with the dragon riding system, but what it means for the future of the game. Because yeah, right now, we've got this incredible mechanic, genuinely comparable to the Insomniac Spider-Man games in how it makes a traditionally boring part of the gameplay loop that you'd often skip if you could, travel, a genuinely enjoyable part of the gameplay loop, which is a fantastic achievement. And you've got this incredible zone, which is built with this flying in mind, and to be flown around from the very start. But hey, you know what feels absolute dog shit after flying around the Dragon Isles on your dragon riding mount all day? Flying anywhere else on your shitty standard WoW flying mount. It's bad enough in the old world where you feel like you're running through treacle on tram tracks. It's even worse in the Dragon Isles itself, which is built with dragon riding speed in mind. One of the best things about zooming around on your Drake is the sheer rate of knots that you rack up, something you especially notice when you're nearer the ground, and that 950% speed increase is edge of the seat thrill ride level noticeable. Getting around the Dragon Isles on a standard flying mount would be a whole different kettle of Tuskar boiled fish though. Something we were able to test using the ghost dragon you ride around when you die on the Dragon Isles to recover your corpse. A mount that uses standard mount flying mechanics and speed, which means we're able to use Ghost Mount to directly compare the difference in the time it takes to fly from the coast, the lowest point of the Isles, to the top of the highest point, just over half the map away.
We'll just have to, I'll time it on my phone, let's do it. Let's start it, let's see how long it takes us to get up to the highest point. Like, the speed at which we're traveling here is insane. I did it for an experiment, right? But also, it was just super fun. Oh, I missed it. Stop the clock. 3.5 minutes. Shall I do it with regular flying? Okay. Let's reset. And let's start. Off we go. So this is 350% walking speed. Feels good, doesn't it? And stop. I hope my grandchildren are still alive to see you get there. It was 6 minutes 23. I got it. 3 minutes 27 versus 6 minutes 23.
A massive difference. And don't forget, dragon riding is also way more fun too. Normal flying around Dragon Isles would suck, and that's fine, no one's gonna do it. But the real problem is that normal flying around any future expansion is going to suck too. What I'm saying is, there really is no going back on dragon riding. No way the player base is going to be happy to return to standard flying after having dragon riding for a whole expansion. And you might say, well yes, Taliesin, but don't worry though. Ian has basically said that if the player player base want it, dragon riding will be enabled beyond the Dragon Isles after the expansion. And you're right, I think it definitely will be. Probably with a toggle that enables any Drake-like mount to become a dragon rider if you like. I dare say there will even be a dragon riding druid travel form too. But no, the problem is everything that comes with that. Because it's not just the flying itself that is so great about dragon riding, as we've seen in this video. It's the whole integration. Do you think that the player base is going to be okay with not having flying unlocked from the start of 11.0? If there is leveling to be done to improve your flying, do you think they're going to be okay with anything other than the leveling all being available from day one? Man, can you imagine if Blizz tried to pull some Pathfinder shit next expansion? No, the player base would not be okay with any of that, and nor should they be. Dragon riding as a system is implemented so well in Dragonflight that by definition, it has to change the way Blizzard approach their world design and flying philosophy in every expansion from now on. And that is a very, very good thing, as long as Blizzard realize it too. Because if they don't, if they do go back to no flying from the start and Pathfinder and lose this exhilarating new system, which, yes, I'm going to say it again, is the single best and most important innovation that the game has seen in the last decade at least, then it's going to be the worst case of borrowed power cold turkey in the history of a game which, let's be honest, already is littered with borrowed power withdrawal. There is a firm test coming Blizzard's way with dragon riding. Firstly, not to change anything. Being able to complete the talent tree on day one, and the speed and efficiency of flight that the completed tree gives players, and the alt friendliness on the account-wide unlocks are as they should be right now. Blizzard cannot change a single thing about those core 3 columns of the system. No time gating, no rep gating, no nerfing the flying itself. This is the flying that Dragonflight deserves and promised with its cinematic trailer. And look, I'm not an idiot, okay? I've been around this track before. I know that I could very well be back here with a new video in a couple of weeks telling you how Blizzard have in fact completely dicked dragon riding for some arbitrary reason. But you know what? I don't think I will be. I've got a feeling that Blizz are going to keep this absolute slam dunk home run guaranteed win exactly how it is. Or okay, pretty much how it is. No, for me, in many ways, the biggest test is what comes next. Does 11.0, the next expansion, see us go back to no flying for the first year of its life and then Pathfinder to unlock it in all the areas that you're already done with? Or do the devs pick up the Dragonflight baton and integrate this genuinely exciting and satisfying mechanic into the core of their design philosophy from here on in? Only time will tell, but there is at least one thing that I am absolutely certain of now. You are going to love dragon riding. Let us know what you think of what you've seen of flying today in the comments below. Are you one of those players who is still adamant that you'll be using standard flying as soon as you can? I would genuinely love to hear from you. How should Blizzard integrate dragon riding into the existing world and future expansions? I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, don't thank me. Thank our patrons who give their actual real-life money to make all of our work happen. And seriously, guys, thank you, because without you, there would be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evertel. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Steve Denuza. Remember, if they change dragon riding to make it less good, it's definitely Steve's fault. No, my name is Taliesin from me and Evertel and Nyrin and Penny too. Until next time, cheerio.